Listen, I'm cringe. I am very cringe. I have a YouTube playlist I started in 2015 called New Music, and the first two tracks are Don't Sweat the Technique by Eric B. and Rakim and Nonstop from Hamilton, showcasing that I am somehow both an old head and a white person. I have been in like 15 theater productions. I don't do it anymore because I went to Reconciliation, and I learned that theater is a sacrilege because you're lying to God, but that was a rough period, you know? I was cast as the only High School Musical onstage character that is not in the movie twice. I was cast as Jack Scott twice, the Velvet Fog of East High, with 5 years in between those decisions. 5! I collected like newspaper comic strip compendiums as a child, and I am not joking, probably over a dozen Garfield collections. That was my GOAT for a short period of time. Jim Davis was my Herman Melville, my Great White Whale was Narmal. Listen, this video is about a guy who went viral like 5 weeks ago. I'm behind the times. The internet is already on that oily misogynist guy that looks like a swollen egg. Andrew Tate, I think. I don't know, he looks like a muscle. I'm cringe. I try too hard. I do too much. I forgot to wear deodorant for most of middle school. I smelled like a Bergamasco shepherd, and considering I did smell like that, I'm very grateful for today's sponsor. You know, earlier this week I tried to woo my wife with a non-Scentbird fragrance. She carelessly brushed me away and locked herself in a bathroom with a Nicholas Sparks novel, and a Walkman, and a Vashti Bunyan cassette. I was humiliated, but luckily Scentbird dialed my number and called me as soon as she had closed the door, most likely because my Nest doorbell system sells data exclusively to companies you hear about on podcasts. Scentbird was kind enough to send 3 trial scents to me for this video, and they are all amazing. I'm a really big fan of fragrances. I have quite a few around, just generally, but a big problem for me is that they deplete really slowly, and I've had some of these bottles for years, and in the time that I've started using them, I've moved on to different scents, so I just have like half of the value of those original bottles is gone. This month I received Bergamusk, I received Forest, and this third one whose name is escaping me. They send little cards that come with them with names and information about them, but I lost mine. Bergamusk is probably my favorite perfume that they sent me. It's got these hints of bergamot, which is a type of orange, cedar, jasmine, lavender. It's just aromatic and sweet and pleasant. Very good pick. Actually, I waited like one day, and Confessions of a Rebel, Well Played is my new favorite scent that they sent me. It's got like cocoa seed and lavender and tonka bean. It's so nice. And also I figured out you can just pull them out of the case to see the letter, the like name of the thing. So I'm not that smart, I don't think. Scentbird lets you choose a new designer fragrance to sample every month for only $17, and they give you an ample supply, I will say. You get about 30 days worth of these fragrances, and then you can try out a bunch over the course of the months until you just find a bottle you want to commit to, and then you can just get that one. It's like a way better version of getting a single spritz of a scent at a mall, because like if you want to know if you like a scent and if the people around you like it, you're going to want to try it as a daily driver. Scentbird has a quiz for you to take so you can discover new fragrances and find one that works for you. Make sure to use my coupon code ROWRAMDEN to get 55% off of your first month at Scentbird. It's only a bit over $7 for your first month, so it's definitely worth it. Thank you so much to Scentbird, and back to the video. And also to Scentbird, I'm sorry for filming this at such a high angle, but it's because you're a high-end brand, and because all of my followers and watchers look down on me. As a disgusting plebeian. Hello, welcome back to the denouement of an off-Broadway musical theater show. I'm the character that's going to tragically die singing in a spotlight, maybe by an estuary or a forest. I noticed you clicked on this video without paying your tithes to the Catholic Church. Maybe if you genuflect in the direction of the Vatican, we can work this out sans anathema. Music, theater, both great on their own, but when combined it can be catastrophic, like 2 separate identical towers in New York, or the hubris of man and the longing to create a building that reaches heaven. You know, I hope that towering obelisk was worth it, because now you can't talk to your friend about the new Nathan Fielder show, which, by the way, I was hoping would be a lot more erotic. Many of you have heard the idea of a main character of Twitter. There's a somewhat infamous tweet saying that every day on Twitter there is a main character, and your goal every day is to not be that. Of course, saying something like that makes every single Dear Evan Hansen Jared Kinney thespian in a 20-mile radius perk their ears up like they're a deer, on whom I have trained the iron sights of my Winchester 70 featherweight rifle. Yeah, this one's for a Bambi sequel. What is seldom mentioned is the main character of TikTok, of which there are about 40 every day, so, you know, if you're a Grey's Anatomy fan, you should not have difficulties keeping track of that amount of characters. These characters can have a lot of variation, but a lot of them come down to the fact that this app can put any video on anybody's page with impunity, and that person can stitch, duet, or comment on that video with more punity, less punity. Punity? What am I saying? And there is no paucity of terrible videos to stitch. TikTok is prolific in turning out content that would have given you the grip in the early 20th century. The most recent example of this is content creator extraordinaire Jake Novak. So let's not waste much time in seeing the video. I want to play this video that resulted in the meteoric rise of this impish member of the cult of Thespis. First things first, I don't want any of you going and commenting any hate for Jake Novak or harassing him in any way on any of his pages. I don't think his content is all that tasteful or socially aware, but I don't think in any respect that makes him worthy of personal ridicule. If you end up on Jake's page, I would rather you left a comment about, you know, his solid compositional skills, or his filmmaking proficiency, or his vocal range. I am going to clown on some of his videos here, but it's in a lighthearted fashion, and I don't think he's a bad person. I just want him to understand why people are averse to some of his content, and exactly why he should or shouldn't care about that. And I'm going to talk about the politics of cringe soon. I just need to show you guys what I'm talking about first. And I'm going to make fun of his visual aesthetic, you know, like anybody could about me, but I know some people are wary of this, so I would like to say that there's nothing wrong with how Jake looks. If he were a streamer that was speedrunning Stardew Valley, I would probably develop like a weird parasocial crush on him. He has the boyish charm of a young Jake Gyllenhaal with the anxious darting eyes of a Wall Street investment banker awaiting sentencing for fraud. He has that Bernie Madoff swag, and I heartily appreciate that. And Jake, if you're watching this, I need to say something right now. One, everything I'm gonna say is like lighthearted, in jest, don't take it too personal. And two, I don't want to come off as creepy. If I make fun of your appearance, I think you're cute, in my opinion. Also, your beard comes in really nice. I'm a girl now, but back when I was in the boy epoch, I tried to grow a beard and it looked like a black mold paludarium had been cultivated on my face.
I want to be the next SNL cast member, and here's why I should be a contender. Hi, Lorne Michaels.
Pause. Right off the bat, addressing Lorne Michaels directly, bad idea. Lorne Michaels is 77 years old. Every ounce of energy he has is already spent, you know, scheduling random celebutants with sexual misconduct allegations to do bad rap parodies with Pete Davidson and Chris Redd.
I'm Jake Novak, and I know that you're feeling the heat because your roster lost Kate, Kyle, 80, and Pete. That means you got an open seat, and I feel I ought to be feeling it, because when it comes to comedy songs, I kind of been killing it.
Okay, so tonally, I'm not really sure where this video is coming from because Jake Novak seems to have entertainment industry experience. You know, he's savvy to an extent, so he knows that there are only 3 ways to get on SNL. You can audition with a series of discrete impressions and bits, you can drown a page in the 30 Rock fountain, or you can cut off the ear of a former cast member and nail it to the Studio 8H door. Upon doing so, the ghost of John Belushi will appear and give you a lapel pin that gets you into the show. I'm running out of joke steam. So this video, from a concept perspective, immediately fails, unfortunately, because we can't understand what Jake is trying to do. Is he earnestly trying to incur good favor with SNL casting representatives, or is he tongue-in-cheek in making a video playfully suggesting he should be on SNL, expecting the audience to infer that he's not serious and is playing a somewhat overzealous or ineffectual character for us to chuckle with? Since that second one makes absolutely no sense considering the context, I mean, he addresses Lorne Michaels in the video, we have to assume the first. So even if that second one is true, the popular consensus is that he's being sincere, and his over-the-top pitch that has little to nothing to do with whether SNL will cast him or not is a real attempt at being cast. There are a lot of long sentences in this video.
See, weekly music videos are my jam, bruh. I'm a rapid rhyming hammy nerd like Lin-Manuel Miranda mixed with Sammy Berg.
This is interesting to me because there have been a few installments of the musical comedy genre on SNL, but never a permanent weekly singer-songwriter, you know? You had Adam Sandler on Update and Digital Shorts, most notably, but oftentimes musical gags are produced or orchestrated by professional musical directors that are employed and work for Saturday Night Live and help record and compose the music. They are not cast members, and they aren't like individually commissioned to produce solo content, you know? And so far as digital content goes, even the Please Don't Destroy guys, whom I love, don't shoot or edit their own content. Most of their stuff last season was directed by Paul Briganti. This adds to the maelstrom of confusion because not only is Jake auditioning in a public, non-existent format that most of the viewers have not requested, he's essentially imagining a chimerical role for himself at a legacy live sketch comedy show that has nothing to do with live sketch comedy.
You heard, I'm more than a rapper, I'm an actor too, so here's a couple of nice guys getting their jackets. After you, after you, after you, after you, after you, after you've seen it.
I'm too young to get cigarettes. I really wanted to get a cigarette so that because I need, every single time I watch this, I need a fucking Marlboro. The only mainstay of weekly digital musical comedy content in SNL in the internet age were the Lonely Island digital shorts, which 1, were not all musical, and 2, were something of an aberration, as Lazy Sunday was seen as a sort of turning point for SNL, helping modernize the franchise and, you know, solidify its appeal to a younger, more internet-infatuated user base. So to upload an unsolicited, impassioned audition tape in which you compare yourself to Broadway megastar Lin-Manuel Miranda and someone who helped revitalize SNL's relevance in the digital age to massive effect, and only offering your TikTok as evidence, feels not only strange and will strike many of us with a sense of secondhand embarrassment, but it is a massive overstep in estimation of your own personal aptitude to produce content at a consistent professional level, especially considering that most of the content on Jake's channel is either too short or too long for SNL's usual MO.
You've seen that scene, I mean, I'm in, right? But I've been sitting on the ringer. In addition to the spitting, I'm a hell of a singer. I could be bouncing out on Broadway, but I'm running for 30 Rock, so I can hand deliver you the next dick in a box. Not literally, obviously, I really want to give you the next big thing. Oh God, dear.
He kind of ate that up. He kind of, like Rodney Dangerfield, put in your fucking 2 weeks notice.
All right, I'll perform, man, I'll sweep the stage, but whatever it is, I'm ready to do it in Studio 8H. What do you say? Did I dive or get you to bite? Maybe we could try it live on a Saturday night, so check my feed. You'll agree where I should be in September, right with Colin, Keenan, Chloe, and Bowen as an SNL cast member.
You know, he put his all into it, and that's all we can ask for. I didn't notice this when I was writing the script, but when he jumps into frame at the very end, the camera shakes. So Jake, if you're watching this, maybe invest in a slightly more stable tripod. Love you, bud. So all of this critique that I'm throwing at this is not to say that Jake is incompetent. You know, he's clearly very capable at filmmaking, composition, lighting his shots well enough, his audio is well recorded, he knows his way around a DAW and an editing software, he is completely competent and even proficient, he just fumbles the bag conceptually every single time. This video is sitting at way too many views on TikTok, which has sent a lot of people over to YouTube to watch it, and it has garnered an almost insane amount of vitriol from people who think that it is cringe, which is a shame because although I understand what makes it strange or makes it sit weird with people, I don't think it was intended for most of the people who are seeing it, and I don't think it's harmful. In explaining why it's confusing or upsetting, I don't want to say that it objectively is bad or irredeemable, I just want to put words to the feelings that people are expressing in a much meaner way, which, by the way, they should probably stop unless it is lighthearted or, you know, in playful jest, because Jake Novak has not posted in weeks, and I'm a little worried about our favorite rapping, rhyming, hammy nerd, like Lin-Manuel Miranda mixed with Sammy Bird. Additionally, it is so obvious he had an audience that was content with this content before this, and now they are probably also embarrassed, and that doesn't feel good for him or them. Even if I have critique to offer to publicly distributed viral content, that doesn't mean the audience or the creator of it doesn't exist and doesn't deserve compassion or empathy. I say all of this to set up a rapid-fire insult round. Jake, if you're watching, and I hope you are, please keep in mind that all of this could become attractive if you started speedrunning on Twitch. Kinda got the vibe of an adult Elf actor in the Mall of America's seasonal winter display. He has to, like, stand by the candy cane and smile really big, and he's not happy about it. He's the Dolly 2 result when you type millennial YouTube gaming streamer, 8K post-Urkel, pre-Riverdale, lives in mid-century modern Bushwick apartment. He's like a cut character from Be More Chill or any up-and-coming Broadway smash that tackles anxiety in striped polo shirts. Person in high school who would scoff at you when you said you don't have a monologue memorized for an audition, and then he'd offer to lend you his signed copy of Best Contemporary Monologues for Males, aged 15 to 25, first edition. Like an Oakley sunglasses enjoyer, you know what I mean? Feels like he posts a lot of photos with apple cider in lodges on his story when he goes skiing in Whistler, but he's not all that good at skiing. He can't remember if it's pizza or french fries to stop. He probably does make it a habit whenever Steve Martin is mentioned to allude to the fact that he has tap shoes in his closet, but he just has to get back on that horse. He smiles like a little European boy whose papa has brought home Astro Pops. If he gets the Bluetooth speaker, he's playing the Hamilton mixtape cut with Watsky on it and telling people to, quote, focus on the words. I feel like he's still using Snapchat, and he says it's because he has active group chats there, but really it's because the butterfly crown accentuates his dimples and the gleam in his innocent eyes. His photos are so airbrushed, he just looks like a textureless person, and I love that. Just glide your hand across his back in it, and it feels like a summer breeze. You know, he's got that Zephyr feel that every lady wants. Now, Jake Novak unfortunately went viral with this one to resounding ridicule, but when people went on his page, they unearthed another artifact. Bad Gun. Bad Gun is Jake Novak's swan song. It is a 1 minute and 21 second epitaph, a rap song about school shootings. I just want to kind of watch it because it's rough. It's hard to watch. I'm just gonna play it.
Land of the free, home of the brave, land of the AR-15, home of kids in the grave. And they have us where they can hold us, packed in the Senate and SCOTUS, and acting bogus, hocus pocus, while we hopelessly focus. The Uncle Sam's holding a bad gun. Children dying in the school, but can you tell me why? Are they not trying to change the rules? We're crying, but we're not fools.
The video description says silence is complicity, but I would argue that the answer is not pop rap either. It's just not very tasteful to place yourself at the center of this issue with a musical rap where you use a falsetto. Oh, it's just not that tasteful. I was talking to my friend Ben about it, and we concurred that this is a rap song by someone whose Illmatic is Words, Words, Words by Bo Burnham. You know, it's a rap song by someone whose To Pimp a Butterfly is The Heist by Ryan Lewis and Macklemore. You know, it's a rap song for someone whose Black Album is The White Album. The Weezer one. It's not great, you know, it's like 7th grade impressive. You know, it's Kids Bop, This Is America. This is the type of thing that would be performed at a school assembly, and then they'd have a separate assembly to talk about the kids' behavior during the first assembly. You know, the TikTok comments actually have it right on this one. It is not very tasteful to use the line "children dying in the schools" to showcase your sick falsettos, passaggio, and pitch control. You know, save that for the Les Miserables Let's Go Branded parody you upload later. Lots of people have said that these are the consequences of Hamilton, but I also think that these are the social ramifications of, you know, letting Kate McKinnon do a cold open hallelujah on SNL the day after Trump won. We have to put an end to corny white people making social statements in song, in poetry, and television. Oh, I thought we learned our lesson when White Privilege 2 by Macklemore came out. In fact, I thought we learned our lesson after White Privilege 1. Sometimes an issue isn't about us, you know, that's something that is okay to realize. I realized this after I gave my speech on unionizing the food industry at an open mic, and then I proceeded not to tip the waiters. I'm getting flashbacks to my first video about Tom McDonald, but in the exact opposite way. Like, Tom McDonald is a cornball, but Jake Novak is like a culinary twist on a cornball. He's the chef's special cornball. He's the cornball you order off the secret menu you found on Reddit. I'm a cornball too, but I'm like a 1 Michelin star cornball, you know? I get the job done. I think the word chuggy has very specific use cases, and this is one of them. What Jake Novak has done here is the sonic equivalent of a pencil case with chevrons and gold foil calligraphy that says, "I'd rather be lost in a book." I do appreciate that he left the link to Everytown in the description, but this issue did not require a full video rap about it, nor a sweet R&B style vocal hook that I keep accidentally whistling to myself while I play video games. I gotta give it to you though, Jake. When I clicked on the funny cancel culture song, as you deemed it, on your YouTube page, I thought I was going to be a hater, but this one low-key goes. I'm gonna let you off the hook. This could be a solid inciting number for a modest off-Broadway hit. What is not good, unfortunately, is the short film you starred in 7 years ago about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, where you and a Palestinian man are just racist and anti-Semitic to each other back and forth for 5 minutes, say some unacceptable things, and then just solve it with a dance in the end. I don't think that is appropriate at all, but it was 7 years ago, and you did not write it, so I don't know, I don't really have you on the hook for that one. But it is interesting because the guy that Jake was in it with was the guy who created the restaurant chain Garfield Eats. Somebody unearthed that on TikTok, and that just kind of blew me away. I don't know what that means about anything, but it makes me weary. But let me just say, if this video happens to make the rounds to the creator of the Garfield Eats restaurant, portraying Palestinians as blatantly anti-Semitic and Jewish people as blatantly racist towards Palestinian people, even in some sort of weird allegorical comedy short, it's not a good look. It's just not. And also, the solution is not just some weird mediation between the two by the United States. The imperial core, you know, that supports Israel, the solution is freeing Palestine from settler colonialism. I will say, though, Jake is kind of eating up the vocals on all of these songs. He has a good voice. Also, he's a solid composer with a good melodic ear, and he knows how to write a musical pop song. And finally, before we shift from the content analysis to my thoughts, I would like to encourage my viewers to go to Jake Novak's channel and comment something along the lines of, "Jake, come back. Your core audience clearly enjoyed your content, and YouTube creator Ro rammed and sent me here to tell you that she is gunning for you, even if she doesn't like your stuff that much and finds some of it a little tasteless. Rooting for you, Jakey no-no, hoping that is acceptable. Ro says she doesn't know you, so if the nickname is an overstep, sorry about that. Just let me know." So go comment that verbatim or something. First things first, I'm not going to come with like a bunch of journalistic sources, okay? I'm not an academic. I'm more of a nautical clown at a maritime festival. Do I look like an academic? No, I look like a gay gastropub employee that dressed myself in secondhand Spirit Halloween outfits I found in the Goodwill bins. I look like a right-wing demagogue sleep paralysis demon. You know, I'm brown, I'm trans, I'm mixed. I'm the one who builds the T-Mobile Pride float every year, you know, in my fruit orchard, which is what I call my wood shop. So Jake Novak is cringe, but you know, what is cringe? Well, let's just hit Wikipedia first. Etymologically, cringe is descendant of Middle English cringen, to bend over in a haughty manner. Haughty meaning, quote, arrogantly superior and disdainful. Cringing now means, more relevantly to us, experiencing an inner shudder of embarrassment or disgust, and even more relevant to us, off of knowyourmeme.com, cringe is an internet slang term used to describe a wide range of social media blunders and fails that may evoke feelings of awkwardness, embarrassment, or even pity. So cringe now in the digital age is a sort of individuated, second-hand embarrassment, one that seems to posit as a prerequisite the superiority or acumen of the one cringing. It is a holier-than-thou social judgment measure. So cringe is a method of social ostracization and social stratification, but what for? Well, there is a range of things that people consider strange or cringe, but mostly it boils down to what is socially acceptable. Consider 2016-era cringe compilations that consisted of feminists crying, furries, people with blue hair, anything that is capable of easily being pushed to the margins and considered bizarre or ideologically untenable becomes cringe. cringe. And I really want to focus on furries because as a group, furries are, to me, not only permissible, but admirable. I think that being a furry is cool. Cringe is often used to describe people who, for whatever reason, have lost grip on acceptable socialization. This can apply to a quote-unquote Karen having a mental breakdown in a store, maybe crying or throwing a fit. She might be referred to as a cringy, entitled wasp. It can apply to a 15-year-old queer kid in high school who's enthusiastic about their identity, especially if it is uniquely obscure. Someone like this might be referred to as sensitive or confused, and their emotional response to ridicule could be called cringe because it seems as though they are disproportionately upset about something that to the majority is insignificant. In the case of furries, the term of cringe is applied almost entirely in a fit of confusion and vitriol towards the unknown. The prospect of dressing up in mascot outfits, hanging out with friends, doing activities, even engaging in copulation in these outfits is so bewildering and socially disruptive that even if it is completely harmless, it is the recipient of endless derision. Add on to this that furry communities are frequently populated with queer people and autistic people, both looking for ways to comfortably express themselves and communicate their needs, identities, and wants within the world, and we can see that cringe in this case is a wholly political, social stratification that seeks to marginalize those who cannot express themselves in parity with established social order. Cringe is not a randomly applied term here. It is a designation turning them into a subaltern class of person worthy of animus and excoriation. So how does this apply to Jake Novak? Well, Jake seems to be someone of a privileged social class for the most part. He seems to be white, decently well-off, cishet man. Some would say that Jewish people are racially separate from white people. I don't think that's my place to, have a hand in that discourse here, but for the most part, he would be accepted into most white spaces. So cringe being applied to Jake Novak as a label might be cathartic in a sense to call a generically privileged, well-spoken white guy cringe. And he is cringe, whatever that means. But why are we calling him cringe? It may not be because he is easily ostracized, but I get the feeling it is because he is somewhat challenging to social hegemony. Now, this isn't to say that if someone is annoying or seemingly self-centered or self-aggrandizing that they cannot be criticized or even made fun of, but it is to say that we should look into why we feel they are being this way and why we feel the need to react that way. And this is including what I said earlier in the video. So, I don't know, rewatch it after you watch this part. Maybe I'll seem like a dickhead. Stupid grandfather was right. Jake seems to have bold self-confidence that has caused him to miss cues and overestimate self-importance. Something that I have done. Something that many people have done in many cases. In his case, it was an incredibly public blunder that looked very much like content. So, another social judgment is that since he spent so much time on it clearly, he should have realized it was perhaps overly fanatic or indulgent. This too necessitates Jake to have a perfect understanding of social cues and how to behave on the internet, both of which are pretty massively difficult to do and understandably can be fumbled. In the case of his SNL video, I think the overwhelming amount of ridicule was probably not deserved. In the case of his bad gun video, I think things are slightly different. To place yourself at the center of such a heated controversy and a fresh tragedy is a massive faux pas. To use it as an opportunity to showcase your flashy lyrics, your complex prosody, internal rhymes, and falsetto is massively tasteless. I think a video like this showcases a major blind spot, not just in Jake's perspective, but in a mindset cultivated and exacerbated by social media's exaltation of the individual thought. I'm hesitant to say that this is a Jake Novak problem because we see it consistently, most recently with Annalyn McCord's If I Was Putin's Mother poem, and back in 2020 with the Imagine video spearheaded by Gal Gadot. Now, you might say these are celebrities and Jake is just a TikTok creator, but let me get to my point. Social media seeks to simultaneously amplify our voices and undermine their efficacy, which turns us into these deluded, weird little goblin freaks who at once feel both useless and venerated by whatever size of audience we have. This is a recent development. Just decades ago, the micro-relationship every single social media user has with their base of followers was non-existent. When a tragedy happened, we were expressed to discuss it with our family, our friends, or our community. Now there is a general tendency on social media to post information about it, retweet news sources, mutual aid opportunities, etc. Don't get it twisted, this is a simulacra of engagement, an inutile facsimile of what actual help and organization are, and I have been fooled too. This social phenomena has bred a generation of people to believe that our individual thoughts and platforms are the catalyst, the zeitgeist, that we are some sort of social vanguards because of our 20k TikTok followers, and it is poisonous to our minds. Platforms have utility, but we can grossly overestimate it, and we can also grossly overestimate the engagement of our audience, i.e. their likelihood to act if asked to. Because of this, I think Jake Novak is not an isolated incident. He didn't just make an off-color, tasteless video that kind of sucks. There is a reason that he felt the need to make that kind of video, and it was influenced by social phenomena. This isn't to excuse it, it's gross certainly, but it does kind of explain it. Sorry, it got really hot, and my camera died like twice, and I've been trying to record this last part for 20 minutes. Jake Novak has not posted since that SNL video, and as I was talking to my friend Connor about it, he brought up the idea that he could have shattered his self-perception and interrupted the usual cognitive dissonance we suffer from in this internet age, this contemporaneous lionization and insignificance. When I say we all suffer from this, I mean that we are all prone to behavior that we see exhibited by people that we dislike or consider socially aberrant. A social infraction by Jake Novak might not be identical to a social infraction by Ro Ramdon, but they both have the potential to be clipped, posted, and sent to millions outside of their community with little to no consent. The consent that does exist is the unspoken social contract of public perception, one that we, in some ways, sign up for once we start posting content to the internet. I say this in some ways because there are many people who intend to be famous who never get there, and many people who want to stay unknown and unintentionally become the center of attention. The possibility of having an audience is as stochastic as their reaction to whatever you post. When we find ourselves in these situations where we are exposed to a new strain of cringe, the BA5 of cringe, we often act with a herd mentality. We see people we admire or consider peers criticize the content or music or media presented to us, and we replicate their actions in order to either fit in or to earnestly divulge our opinions on what has been presented to us. To an extent, this is human, and we may forever be at the whims of social pressures, but it may be our benefit to escape this group harassment, as it only serves to make life shittier, really. To be clear, this is not an anti-woke mob rant or an anti-cancel culture rant. I believe that cancellation, whatever that means, has its place socially, and that communal action is sometimes the only way we can affect change. However, in cases like this, we see a strange, almost police-like mentality of running a socially aberrant person off of an app with non-stop harassment. In strictly enforcing our views of cringe and normal, we become social arbiters of personal expression. I say this not to put pressure on people to stop deeming things cringe, but just to be wary of what we consider cringe. Of course, things like misogyny, racism, transphobia will always be cringe, but what else and why? I had an enlightening conversation with my friend Ben, aka White Thunder, a man versed in all avenues of cringe. He was a YouTube rapper who is one of the most self-critical people I know. He says that he believes to an extent that cringe is based on some notions of social and personal development, that it is natural to cringe at our past selves, and in doing so we establish norms that we presently occupy and improprieties that we vehemently wish not to return to. In setting these guidelines for our own behavior, we construct a subconscious worldview that deems those who exhibit conduct we feel we've moved past as immature, unintelligent, ignorant, and cringe. Ben says he feels that it's remarkably similar to the way people sometimes perpetuate fat phobia. Seeing other people comfortable with their weight or being fat somehow deviates from a way of life you and others have been taught is correct. Thusly, their existence becomes antithetical to yours, and they become worthy of unsolicited denigration and critique. To quote Ben, ridiculing them is the only way to validate your worldview, which, with them in it, would show itself to be irrational and foundationally defective. Their being spites yours. In the same vein, we often only cringe at something once it's been made visible to us, whether through outspoken confidence or unwilling exposure. Because of this, oftentimes cringe is applied to phenomena we deem as unworthy. I don't understand this, it is new to me. This person performing or inhabiting it is so confident that I must not let them feel like this. I need to transfer my shame on their behalf so that they can become like me, morally pure and civil. Not cringe. The truth is, I have been Jake Novak. Not literally, not to the same extent. I've never experienced the public backlash he has for really a lighthearted video of him being a goofball. What I mean to say is that I've bing cringy. Like, my entire fucking life, I have been cringy, full stop. I did musical theater for 6 years. I was a Bo Burnham stan who visited his subreddit. I was into yo-yoing and close-up magic when I was in middle school. I own a Lego Seinfeld set that I purchased ironically for $80. I have not been cool. There is nothing less cool than insincerity. I did not go to parties in high school. I truly only feel like I've been a regular person for 2 years now. Whatever regular means, I know that it's really crushingly hard to put content on the internet and have people hate it and hate you, and I know that sometimes that feels better than having no one watch it at all. I started making YouTube videos in 5th grade. They are all privated on an old channel with a name only my closest friends know. They are embarrassing, they are cringy, they are stupid, irreverent, they are everything that I was for years. I cannot watch my own videos presently. I think they are cringy. I think they're embarrassing. I become embarrassed by my current output frequently. On a weekly basis, I am hit by pangs of intense shame and humiliation for the fact that I am a corny commentary YouTuber who makes videos about nothing for people I don't know for a cause I can't articulate. There is something that separates Jake and I. At least Jake has a goal, At least Jake knows he wants to be a writer or an actor or an SNL cast member. I think we and I see something in Jake that reminds us of that childlike naivete, and to some extent, I admire it. deeply. I think that doing something as reckless and possibly embarrassing as publicly posting an SNL audition to TikTok is a wildly fearless and strangely charming thing. It's something I could never do because I'm too preoccupied with a public facade of apathy and stoicism, to some degree. I think it's fine to dislike Jake Novak, don't get me wrong. I don't love his videos that much. I don't like Bad Gun. I think some of the stuff he makes is even possibly offensive or not tasteful, but I still think he's a person. And the more I think about him, the more he reminds me of myself. The more he reminds me of things I've done, things I've said, blunders I've made, and the more I am reminded of the fact that I was given lenience by close friends and family because I didn't make those faux pas publicly. I also think it would be really funny if Jake Novak actually got on a Saturday Night Live somehow, even as just an extra. So if anybody knows, please make that happen. And I guess the only thing I can say is go forth and be really, really cringy. Be really cringy. Do your worst. Yeah, I'm over here now. First of all, thank you for watching to the end. Second of all, thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Once more, go in the description, use the code, use the link, get money off of scents. They smell really good, and I smell really good right now. You just can't tell. If only you could smell through the screen, you would understand that Scentbird is worth every penny. Third of all, my friend, ALEXIS Miles, I believe I mentioned them in another video, but around a year ago, there was a house fire that destroyed their apartment. They're recovering from agoraphobia, PTSD that has developed after this incident. They have not been able to get a job. I'm going to leave their GoFundMe and Cash App in the description. They are like 75% of the way to their GoFundMe goal. They are fundraising every single day on TikTok. I'll also link their TikTok down there. If you can go support them, go do that. That would be cool. And if you want to support my Patreon, you can do that too, because that's also in the description. But I would encourage you to go support Alexa first, because ALEXIS. Why did I say Alexa? It's Amazon coding. This is the perspective we're on right now. Ignore the lotion by my bed. You're sick. Get that out of your mind. I don't even have anything down there. It's like a slab of sandstone. Okay, I look like a mannequin. So no need to worry about that. Anything else? No. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be kind to yourself and others. Stream Jake Novak. Remember that there's some conception. Something out there loves you. Somebody. Some bird. Sometimes when you go to... Or a butterfly. When you go to a butterfly exhibit and it lands on your nose. That loves you. This is such a mess. I think... Good for you for watching. No, that's not what the end is. Have a nice... What the fuck do I say at the end of these videos? I haven't recorded one in a month. I don't know. It's as always, it's been a pleasure. Until next time. Bye!
On my head, yeah, this shit really is on my head. I can't stop.